We continue with our Theology of the Body Mondays, and today is actually going to be our last session on this series. So, as of late, we've been talking about the sacramentality of the body. Our bodies tells us about something about who we are internally, how we're not just spirits that have a body, but we are spirits and we are also our body, right? We talked about the kind of an opposite anthropology, this kind of dualism or dualistic way of thinking about the human person that kind of separates the body and soul too much, right? The inner me is my real me, and I just have a body like an extension, but it's really not, doesn't have bearing on who I am. Well, from this dualistic anthropology, there has been born a sort of separation that says, well, I can be born with a particular physicality, a particular biological sex, right, male or female, a bodily thing, but internally, right, I may feel like I am something different. Like maybe I feel like I am a woman or a man, regardless of my physicality, right? And because if you kind of follow this dualistic kind of way of thinking about the human person, because the real me is just how I feel internally, then the external biological reality has no bearings really on who I am. And so, yeah, maybe my body says X or Y, but I don't. That doesn't have bearing because I feel this way, and internally that's really who I am, and therefore that is what I am. My body doesn't tell me anything about who I am, whether I'm male or I'm female. Says this way of thinking, which is not really the Christian way of thinking, right? And so from this can lead towards wanting to say, well, therefore I can do even change my body, try to fit my internal feeling, which again, would not be a Christian anthropology, right? Our bodies are not like our cars that we can repaint. It's actually part of who we are, right? There's a lot to unpack from this, which we're not gonna be going to do impact very much, but just kind of two main things to kind of just mention regarding this thing. So the first thing, just according to biblical account and to even sociological human understanding for thousands of years, and also Jesus even speaks about this, right? We are created as male and female, right? And since our bodies, right, are essential to our human identity, kind of what we were speaking about before, since we're in flesh beings, right? We are our body, we are our soul. It's really not possible. It's not possible for a quote unquote, female soul or something to be trapped in a male body. Like that is just not possible, because what makes me male or makes me female is actually my body, right? That is what makes me one or the other, not any sort of feeling inside, right? You could even, because of different things that can happen to the body, you can even go more internally to DNA, kind of like chromosomes XX or XY, because yeah, body could potentially be mutilated, and so you can go kind of further to DNA. And this may be similar to like being siblings, right? You may not feel like somebody is your sibling, and you may not look like your sibling, but if you are, come from the same parents, same mom, same dad, then your siblings. It's just a DNA fact, regardless of if you feel like it or not, or if it seems like it's the case or not. It's just if you come from the same parents, your siblings, right? Just kind of just one thing, right? That is the Christian anthropology, where we created male and female, and this is how God made us, and there's a beauty in this difference of the sexes, and there's a complementarity and stuff like we've talked about before in different kind of sessions. Second thing to mention is that one can, or a person could potentially feel some sort of dissociation with one's body, and this can take many shapes or forms, right? And in these sort of feelings can be hard, right? Think about like something like anorexia, right? This association with your body where you think you look way overweight and you're actually not, right? It's a heavy thing. It's a lie that one is seeing that regarding one's physicality or this association with one's body. There's this other not very well known and actually not very common, but it is a diagnosable thing called body integrity dysphoria, right? And so this is very rare, but sometimes a person will feel like there's like a part of their body that doesn't belong to them. Like they'll say, oh, this hand is actually not mine. Like it doesn't belong to me. And so they'll actually go to doctors asking to be amputated a piece of their body, or even their eyes or something like that. Doctor, I want you to cut my hand because I just don't feel like it's part of my body, and this is really weird kind of dissociation that can happen. It's rare, but it's a diagnosed thing. And again, if one is experiencing that, it must be super awful to feel like your hand doesn't belong to you, but yet you know that a hand belongs to you because it's attached to your body, right? Regardless of how you feel, right? It's yours because it's attached to you, right? And then, of course, as we know in our culture today, a lot of kind of gender identity disorder thing or whatnot, right? I'm gonna feel like I'm some sort of male or female regardless of what my body kind of says, right? And so, because such a experience can actually happen, it's important that we're compassionate to somebody who bears such a cross, but also help them understand that regardless of how they feel inside, that doesn't change like the external fact, right? And how do you walk with somebody for integration, right? Because we are not dualistic um, people where like our insides are real. No, the inside is real, but also our outside, right? We're both body and soul. And then maybe just to conclude the whole series of theology of the body, just a reminder a couple things. We're made for union, right? And this is something that our body tells us so, but it kind of tells us about our soul. We're made for union. We're made for love. We're made for being known, for knowing others, for being in communion with others, because we're made in the image of the God who is communion Himself, right? Father, Son, Holy Spirit, the most holy Trinity. We're made for union, for love, and that is something that we begin here on earth with our relationships with friends, where one is called to marriage, in marriage, but ultimately, all this desire for union and all this union that we can see even from just our bodies that we're meant to be in union with others ultimately points us to the one union for which we were ultimately made for, which is union with God. The union we will have hopefully in heaven, and which will satisfy the deepest longings of our